So, with that, it's my pleasure to introduce the introduction to Vuforia for toy recognition. We've got JJ Lecklider, who is the staff manager for Vuforia, as well as the CEO of Toys Talk, Marco Carvalho, who's here from Brazil, to share what they're doing. So I'll turn it over to JJ.
Thank you, Liz. I noticed that I drew the post-lunch session today, so keep with me. We're talking about toys. Hopefully it's pretty exciting stuff, so I can keep you all awake. So as Liz just let you know, we're here to talk about toy recognition. I'm a staff product manager with QCE here at Qualcomm. And what I've been focusing on is a new feature that we'll be releasing that'll focus on recognizing toys and other types of objects. Many of you are probably familiar with Vuforia since you're here at our developer conference. But essentially what Vuforia does is it provides an accessible way to enable all applications to see. Vuforia is available today as an SDK, and we integrate with all of the best industry standard tools for application development, whether that's Eclipse for Android, Xcode on iOS, and Unity as well. And really what our mission is to help to enable experiences that resonate well with the audiences that you build applications for. And so before I get into toy recognition and how that works, I want to talk a little bit about digital play and different types of play that are already enabled today, kind of between physical toys and digital experiences. I think it's safe to say that the digital play is not a new concept, that it's been mainstream for probably close to 40 years now from the release of real early game consoles like Atari, which some of you here probably even had. And what's interesting is that means that the parents of today actually grew up playing on these consoles. And so I think they have a different type of appreciation for the types of activities that their kids do on devices these days. And they're actually able to also participate pretty actively in the play process. And then over the last 10 years, we've seen a tremendous amount of growth in digital play as it relates to mobile. You can see in the far left shot here a kid playing on a Leapfrog device, which is targeted towards really early adoption of mobile devices. A feature phone, as those grew in popularity. Kids picked that up, games got impressive there, and we saw a great business around it. And then lately on tablets, so as devices got larger screens, better user interfaces, stronger processing power, kids picked up tablets, and it's just intuitive. They know how to use them now. And this morning, I think it was Raj who touched on the increase in screen time for adults, the amount of time that we spent using our mobile devices, how actually between this same time window, that's increased substantially. And what Common Sense Media did is they did a study with children under the age of 8, and they sampled kids in 2011 and again in 2013. And what they looked at is how much time they spent on different types of mediums. And what they saw, and you can see in the graphic here, is that actually time spent on television, music, in front of a computer, on a game console, all dropped by a matter of minutes in that 2-year window. And as you may expect, what was there to pick up the slack was actually mobile. So play on tablets and mobile phones increased by 10 minutes per day. Pretty clear that kids are spending more time on these devices these days. And you could probably also guess why. That's because they're more widely available. So over that same 2-year window, three-quarters of kids now have access to these devices in the home, with that usage on mobile phones being up 22%. But really, the bigger change is tablets being 5 times more available in the household. So kids have a really strong platform to get access to this digital content and play on. And this isn't something that's been ignored or missed by the toy industry at all. This is a quote from Melissa Bernstein, who's the co-founder of Melissa and Doug. They make children's toys. So you can read it, but she says, "We are waging war. Young children are aging out of toys faster than ever. We're fighting age compression. That's technology. There's no question it's impacting us." So there's there's no shred of a doubt this is something that needs to and is being addressed in the toy industry already. And the types of experiences that you've seen that have already gone digital focus across all the different platforms already. So you see a couple shots here of some kids playing Skylanders in the top left corner, some kids playing on Disney Infinity. Those are both living room experiences, and some are now moving to mobile, as we also heard today. And then in the right shot, you see some kids playing on Angry Birds telepods, and this is a product from Hasbro that's been very successful, where they can actually pick the Angry Bird that they'd like to play inside of the digital application, and they enable that by scanning in the physical toy that they purchase. So there's actually play that occurs with the physical toy as well as in the digital experience, really kind of blending the two for kids. And what we find is that they pick this up very quickly, and it's natural. And so looking at the experiences that are out there today, what do consumers want? What do they want out of these experiences now, and what do they want in the future? This is another study that was done by Icon Kids and Youth. This time it's a sampling of 2,500 folks between the age of 8 and 30, so this will get some adults as well. And what they said is that they would like it if a traditional toy were combined with an electronic device. So saying nothing more that the two can work together in some way to create an interesting play pattern, but 79% of the respondents thought that. 77% thought that they'd like it if the real toy could be controlled by the electronic device, which implies that you actually can have some back and forth communication and actually send signals to the toy to control what it's doing, like a robot. And this is an important one. 69% actually said they'd be willing to pay more for the toy if it could be used together with an electronic device. So as toy companies are making decisions about what to pursue as they move forward, this is a key data point for them. And then 78% also if the traditional toy could play together with the electronic device. So again, some back and forth play patterns. And so we've seen this. This is a feeling that's quite obvious in the Vuforia ecosystem. We have all kinds of vision-based apps on our platform, and we already have a lot of toys. So this slide here shows some of the different toys that have already been released on Vuforia, and most of these will recognize either images or recognize markers to enable a new kind of play experience. Nerf, this is a brand from Hasbro. They've created a lot of successful applications, but this one here actually allows you to scan your physical Nerf toy that you purchase and then unlock it inside of an application where you can shoot that Nerf toy, see the different types of projectiles that it shoots, and shoot it at virtual targets that are augmented. This is Power Rangers, so everyone knows this one, but they actually produce these Power Ranger keys that can be unlocked from the application to initiate battles within the game. This is a world map where you actually use Vuforia to scan this game board that will augment different types of monuments and attractions from around the world so that the kid can learn more. And here, Tech Decks, this is from Spin Master. This is an unlock-based experience where you actually buy these fingerboards that you can do tricks with and play with, but each fingerboard is actually an unlock into their digital application where you can then play with that unique skateboard inside of the app. And then finally here, this is Bratz Action Heroes. These are dolls, largely targeted towards girls. And what they've actually done to enable a corresponding digital experience from these physical toys is to include a little, maybe 4-inch tall version of the doll that when placed on a specific image target can unlock that doll for play within the game. And so all of our developers are already finding creative ways to enable these play patterns that work between digital and physical using image recognition. So Hot Wheels built an application called the PowerPort, or a toy called the PowerPort. This is from Mattel, and they were looking for a way to innovate around this existing product. They wanted to add additional play and value and extend the life of the product and, of course, drive additional sales. So what they did is they created a digital component, a Vuforia application. It's actually intended for a tablet that slides into a stand that attaches to the racetrack. And this is a racetrack that has motorized cars that get flung the Hot Wheels around the track, and they eventually go too fast and crash into each other and spin off. And the play pattern that they went after here was actually loading up as many Hot Wheels as you can, and then they'll augment a dinosaur or a robot that you're actually battling with the cars. And the more times you make it around, the greater chance you have, and then you eventually defeat this dinosaur. So they created a new way to measure and impact play between the physical cars and an augmented enemy. And then this exceeded their original expectations. They gained a lot of valuable usage metrics that they can take forward into toys going forward. Last one here that I also want to highlight is Magnicolor. So this is a kind of a creative stenciling toy, sort of like a Light Bright, which we're probably more familiar with, where you can actually fill in the different colors to create and stencil out different animals or sea creatures in the example here. And what they were looking to do was to find a way to bring these creatures to life, to create a more innovative experience around that, to make it personal for the child. Originally looking at 3D glasses, they eventually actually went for a Vuforia application. That using a tablet that probably already existed in the child's home could recognize this toy and bring the different creatures to life. Share them socially with your social graph. This was actually voted one of the top 5 toys at the 2013 Toy Fair and was picked up by a bunch of major retailers. This toy I want to talk to you for a minute. This was shown at the keynote as well, but this is the Lego Fusion line. And Jay Wright spoke to this. This is a line that we worked closely with Lego on to enable some new types of play patterns. All of the different play revolves around building something physically with Legos and then importing it into a digital application where you can construct a town or a car out of what you've built. And like Jay highlighted, this was actually has been received very well and was named to one of the 15 hottest toys for this holiday season by Toys R Us. And in the top right, this is the Create and Race SKU, which is actually build a car. There's actually build instructions inside the app that tell the kid to build the car, and then we verify it with Vuforia. And if the car is built correctly, they can then race it against enemies within the game. And the bottom one is Town Master, which has probably been the most popular. It's one of the 2 that went to #1 on the iOS charts in the kids category. This is great because you can build actually the front of any house that the child chooses out of any of the bricks that are included in this kit. And then we reconstruct that house inside the application. And when the kid's playing on the tablet application, there's actually little townspeople running around saying, I need a bicycle, or I'm hungry and I want a cupcake, things like that. And the kid will need to respond to that, come back to the physical world and build them that building that's going to be assigned back inside the game, kind of creating a really strong bond between what happens in the physical play space and in the digital. And like I said, it's been really, really successful. I'm going to play this video again for those of you who may not have seen it. So currently, I think this is one of the best examples of a really strong back and forth physical to digital play pattern. If you were to look at all those different experiences I just showed and try and silo them into different categories, you can maybe shape them into 4 different sections is what I've done here. So Tech Deck, these were the skateboards that were unlocked in the physical space for a digital experience with the same skateboard. That's a pure unlock experience. There's not something that happens in augmented space on that skateboard or has to. Really, the point is that it's an alternative way to monetize within an application and add value to a physical toy. Completely virtual toys. So this RC car application was created by Toy Wheel. It actually allows you to start the experience just off of a printed target in the middle of the floor, and then a full course for the RC car is constructed on the floor, and you drive a digital car around your bedroom. Dino Mundi, we're going to see this is a toy from Toys Talk that Marco will demo for us shortly here. But this is immersive play. So this is a play experience where actually augmented content, which in this case are on playing cards, actually come to life and interact with one another in conjunction with the physical toy. So really relying on both the toy and the digital experience to collaborate together. And then recording and sharing, there are apps that are designed entirely for this. The Hot Wheel app included this as one of the function. But as you're seeing that race car zoom around, you can record it and you can share it and generate more awareness for your application with things that you could only imagine previously. And so these exist today, like I've said. What are we hearing from our customers? These could be customers that are toy companies or developers like yourselves. What are they telling us? Because as we're building our toy recognition feature, we go out and we talk to a lot of folks and we try and incorporate their feedback into what we're going to release next. And so as it relates to toys and objects specifically, we hear things like, we don't want to use codes. We'd rather not include a printed code in the packaging, that the child either has to type in manually or scan a QR code or something like that. We'd rather recognize the toy. We've seen that the kids will lose the packaging if you do go that route. Sometimes that's the first thing that gets shredded open when you have a new toy. And then they may never get to the digital experience if it depended on that. Of course, we want kids to play with the toy. So the toy industry certainly wants to encourage play that happens on the toy. And I think we all do, either as people who have kids directly or no kids. We want them to engage in physical play and build up all of the positive habits that come with that they learn from. So they'd like a way for the digital experience to actually encourage that interaction. And yes, we could put a chip or other electronics inside the toy to actually make them interact directly with one another, but oftentimes that's too expensive. It's not always the case, but many toys are at $4.99 price points all the way down to 99 cents, and in that case, it's just not feasible to actually put a chip in the toy. And so in that case, using vision to recognize and make that connection is a great solution. And really what it comes down to at the end of the day is that often toys have their own development cycle, they have their own priorities, and they're going to be built one way or another without a digital experience or not. That's not always the case. Sometimes they're designed together, but many times it is. And when it is, you can't change the toy. It just needs to work. So we've taken all of these different pieces of feedback that I will hear quite often and incorporated that into the feature that we're going to be releasing later this year into Vuforia. And so this is toy recognition or object recognition. It really it enables the recognition and tracking of toys or other objects that share similar characteristics to these toys, meaning that there's visual detail on them and they're generally of good enough size that we can see reliably and track. And so imagine that you're a toy company that's produced this car. This is a car that we actually produced on the Vuforia team, so it's not a commercial toy or of that quality really. But we built it to show off an experience that could be enabled with toy recognition. And so if you're a toy company with this, you're going to want a way to drive that meaningful interaction between these two types of toys, where you actually encourage to play with the toy in physical space in order to get the digital experience. And so what you can do with toy recognition is actually apply this content directly on top of the toy, which in this case, if this was a racing game where maybe you fight other cars, you can apply that machine gun turret or those saws or that thruster directly on the back of the car. That means it's registered to the car and it's not going to move when you move your tablet or mobile phone around the outside of the car. It's going to stay in place just as it would on an image target all the way around the toy. And so I'm going to show you a video next that highlights a slice of an application that's designed to show what would happen if you had this app and then maybe the child brings home the physical toy they've purchased and wants to use them together. So what was really important there is that when the child pointed at the toy, it immediately saw it. And then the digital experience started just as easy as pointing at something. And also you might have noticed that when that robot circled around behind the car, it actually looked like it went behind the car. That's because with Vuforia, we can provide the exact location of that car in 3D space and give the developer the tool to create a proper model that masks out that digital content to actually make it look real, to make the digital weapons there look like they actually exist on the physical car. Of a spinning wheel. See if I can jump forward. The laptop may not have liked the end of that video. Okay. I'll try and restart this. Okay, it's restarting. I think we're good. Okay. So a couple things that are important that video highlighted and I've been talking to, but fast recognition. So point at it and it works. This will enable scanning a toy, unlocking digital content, one-to-one relationship between physical toys and a digital experience so that you can buy something at the store and get something for it in your app. Having a registered experience. And like I was talking to, that meant that those weapons were actually on top of the car and they looked like part of the car. And what this actually can enable in a different toy, perhaps, is that it comes to life. So imagine that you have a toy animal of some kind that you point at. You can actually have a digital overlay that makes that toy appear like it's coming to life. And with toy recognition, you'll be able to look at two toys simultaneously and have combinations of two toys so that when they're both in the field of view, different things can happen. They can come to life and interact with one another. If you'd imagine a toy line that maybe has 10 different toys in it, you can have all kinds of interesting combinations of battles and experiences that you can create out of physical play. Being robust to motion. So we test Vuforia extensively always. And toy recognition is no different. We want to ensure that we maintain tracking as much as possible when that device is moving around the toy or when the toy itself is moving within the environment. It'll enable the experiences I've been talking about. And then, of course, working in the real world, that's likely a cluttered room or a playroom of some kind where there's going to be other toys that are visible in the scene. We need to make sure that we pick out the toy that we're actually looking for as the target, and you're able to augment it. So there's a couple different classes of toys that work well with toy recognition. These are things like action figures that don't have a whole lot of moving parts because we look for the parts that do not move and that they have enough detail on those parts. Toy cars, like the police car here, or buildings or play sets, things that are often kind of the hub of an experience are great candidates to build an augmented scene around and actually add digital content to. So I've outlined what you can build with toy recognition. I want to spend a few minutes just talking about, at a higher level, how it works so that you could feel confident taking this away and building your first toy recognition experience. This slide here is actually the anatomy of the Vuforia platform, or which may look familiar to some of you that have worked with Vuforia before. What you can see here is that if you're working with an image, nothing's changed. As we update the platform, you'll take an image, you'll upload it either through our target manager or through one of the web APIs, and that's either going to go into a database on a device or a database in the cloud. If it's on a device, that means it's packaged into a database that we provide back to the developer. The developer will actually compile into their application, where the Vuforia engine will tell you when you've seen your image and all the different events that you needed to manage your application and create the experience. Try and keep as much of that in place for object recognition as possible. And really, with a toy, the one difference is that there's going to be a first step where you actually need to create what we call object data. And I'm going to demonstrate this step, but you'll point at the toy, and you'll actually scan it and create the object data. Then, the same as with an image, you upload to the target manager, package into a database, which could also contain images, and then compile into your application. So let's take a quick look at the capture application here. So at the menu, you can see all the different toys that I've captured in the past with the app. These are in a card view at the main menu. I can click on them and look at the detail for the captured object or continue the scan. But what I'm going to do here is create a new one. So I'll hit the plus sign in the top right, and then it's going to kick over to a Vuforia viewfinder, like you're used to seeing in any of your apps. And then you'll see here what I have actually is an alignment target. This serves a purpose, which is to define the coordinate system that the physical object will exist within. And this will carry over directly to your development environment when you're working in something like Unity, so that you don't have to do a lot of work to align the toy after the fact. So if I bring this car that I've used previously, and place it on the mat here, I can use these axes to try and align it with the corner of this alignment target. And what I've defined right here is really the 0, 0, 0 position. It doesn't have to be right there. I can put it here. I can put it wherever I'd like, just somewhere in that quadrant. So if you had a bigger object, it would obviously extend well off the mat. What you want to do is point directly at your toy and hit the red button there. And then as I move around, you can see different points are identified on the object. And I'm not going to do a whole lot here because I'm limited by this cord, but the best practice is to move all the way around the object and capture from the angles that you want to recognize from later. So as you move, you can see the point counter in the upper left increasing. Say that I have enough there. I'm going to hit the button to pause and then the check mark to save. I'm going to name my app here, car. Then I'm going to hit save. And what it'll do is drop me into this details screen where I know the last time I modified it. I can recognize the car by the thumbnail we've captured. I could rename. I can actually go back in, and I'm not going to demonstrate this, but you can test the strength of the target you've created during the capture process. This is an important part of the workflow where you actually can judge if you've captured enough of your toy, or if you'd like to go back and resume and continue scanning, as well as having the ability to dynamically remove the points so that if you captured something by accident outside of your environment, you can scrub those out of the object data before moving forward. So that's how the capture app works. Trying to keep it as simple as possible. We want that to be a quick process that generates an output, which is object data. And then you take that object data, like I showed in the diagram, and you upload it to the target manager. So what you'll see with our next, can we go back to the, what you'll see in the next release is that there's going to be a new category that's actually for an object. So you'll select that, you'll upload, you'll browse to the object data that you've pulled off of your capture application, which you can actually share. I didn't demonstrate, but share through the Android functions inside of the application with your computer. Then you'll add that. And then you'll be able to just add a target to a database like you can today. So in this example, you may be able to tell that there's our Stones image targets exist in the database, and then I put a Vuforia car alongside that. You can click on it, you can get details about the last time it was modified, the target ID, all the same types of parameters that exist today. And then so finally, kind of following along the workflow, in this case I'm giving an example with Unity. When I take that Unity package that I downloaded from the system, I can actually drop it into the editor. And what I get when I do that is the same coordinate system that I defined using the alignment target earlier, and I get a bounding box that's bounded by the region of the toy that we scanned. The developer can manipulate this bounding box and use it to set really the boundaries perhaps of where they'd like to create digital content later. You could, of course, also go, if you're actually building a real application like the one I showed before, and start adding your digital content into the scene and aligning it on top of the model. We'll have play mode support for this, as with other targets today, so you can point at the car. Here we've just augmented a cube around it, but actually do adjustments on the fly there. And so that's the workflow. Hopefully you'll agree that it's familiar if you use Vuforia today, and easy enough to get started with. There's really just 3 steps: scan the toy, create a database, and build the app. And so toy recognition is going to be coming to Vuforia in December of this year. We've actually been running a early access program, which you can go and sign up for at vuforia.com/beta. We've had tremendous reception to this. There's a lot of interested parties across a variety of different use cases, toy and otherwise. This could be object recognition too. So I'd urge you to either come to contact me after the talk or apply at the website here. And also, if you're a developer looking to build applications and you use Vuforia today and you'd like to build for toy companies, you can contact me and I can put you in touch with the person that manages our preferred developer program. So we make connections between parties all the time. So now I want to move on to something a little more fun, which is to Marco Carvalho from Toys Talk. He's a co-founder of Toys Talk. He has 3 different toys that he's going to show you that use Vuforia. Some of them are still early and in development, but I think there's some really exciting applications for toy recognition.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Well, at Toys Talk, we are disrupting the market of toys, content, and games because we want to put all of that together and create an immersive environment, an immersive game for kids. We started doing that with Dino Mundi. This product is going to be in stores for Christmas in many countries this year and worldwide next year. Basically, what we wanted to do here, we wanted to create a play that not only happens with the physical toy, because the physical toy is already really interesting. You see, it goes around, you have lights and sound. And we wanted to enhance this experience. So we developed an app. And can I have it? All right. And the sound? There we go. All right, so this track that comes with over 200 pieces, when I, like to start with, when I go into stores, I can already interact with the product from the packaging. And the packaging comes with these 6 different cards. So every time I scan a card, they become real dinosaurs. And I can interact with these dinosaurs. For example, I'm going to give food to my dino. There we go. There we go. So we have many different cards, and it also interacts with the track. For example, when I look into the entrance here, you see like different dinosaurs, they come into play. Also, this play can be recorded. I can take pictures. I can share my videos online, and you know, we have many different dinosaurs with many different features, and what also boys like the most, because when I put like the T-Rex and I put my Triceratops together, you see they're not good friends. So look what will happen. Look. That's a mean T-Rex. Look at that. All right. So this game, it interacts, and you have this whole interaction inside the game, but we are expanding that to a whole range of licensed products because we thought, why not bringing other products that are not toys into this game and making them interact together. So we're launching a series of products, like from shirts that they also, dinosaurs appears and interact with you, but all the way through gum, food, and like we're doing like a partnership with a food company in Brazil. We're doing juices, we're doing gum, we're doing all kinds of products that they all become dinosaurs, and they come into this game and they all interact together. So we call this immersive play, because we bring everything and you play the same game through the same app with all kinds of products and toys. So that was our first experiment with Vuforia. We were really, really excited about this toy. We have great partners from all over the world joining us to distribute this product and make it a global success. And we were so thrilled with this technology that we wanted to go a step further. And then when we heard about that we could bring actual physical 3D objects into play with the toy, for the toy recognition, we were really amazed, because then we're finally going to be, not to need to have cards and paper and printed. Now we'll be able to have the toys by itself making the interaction. And that, when we first thought about it, we had an idea, okay, since we're disrupting the market of content, games, and toys, why not do the same with comic books? So Monsteel, just changing the tech. All right. There we go. And, so Monsteel, ever since 1933, comic books have been around, always in form of paper. Then, like 10 years ago, we started having some of comic books online, digital. But when you take this platform that is from paper into the digital, and if you only work with the digital, you miss what comic books fans like the most, which is the collectability. So we decided to put together three things that comic book fans love the most. First of all, great comics. Second, collectability with toys, because most comic book fans, they love to collect toys. And also gaming. So when you purchase a toy, like Frank, for example, and you download the app, so here you go, we start. You see, you have a whole story that you can read from your app. It has, let me turn on the volume. The sound is, all right, there we go. So you can read the whole story and interact just like you do on a paper. But you can also, let's see, during the whole story that you learn, you engage with the story, but you also have different interactions. Like here, you see, Frank wants to share with us some of his emotions. So let's see what that happens when I look into the toy through that scene. Oh, there we go.
My name is Frank Starr. I am 322 years old, and I was born a monster. Now I finally understand why I'm such a poor monster. I never enjoyed scaring people. I'm a nice guy, an understanding, sweet creature. Recently, I discovered that my dad built me with 2 hearts, and that I can only do good things. I want to be one of the good guys. I want to prove that I can be a superhero. I never enjoyed doing all that evil stuff. I have 2 passionate hearts thumping inside my chest. Oops, I think I've said too much. Even for 2 hearts.
So in this story, Monsteel is a story about monsters that were tired of being seen as bad guys. So they decided to join together and become superheroes.
My name is Frank Starr.
But
I am
they
322 years old, and I was born a monster.
Yeah, let's not hear that again. Well, so they joined together to become superheroes, But, since they're monsters, they didn't have a job or they didn't have money. So they started, to work at parties, at amusement parks to make money, pretending that they're dressed as monsters. And then they can gather money to buy their outfits, their superhero gadgets, and so on. So it's a comedy. We're launching early next year. We also have, besides testimonials and everything, we also have games built inside the story, like here, that you can shoot at the real enemy that is the amoeba toy. You see, so I have... And all of that happening in front of the child. Every time we show this to a kid, it's so impressive to see how their reaction and their wow to everything. So, okay, okay. All right. Well, since we have just a little bit more time, I want to give you guys a sneak peek on what we're preparing. This is really a prototype, so let me show you a little bit how that works. Magic always amazes kids. Harry Potter was a huge success, and we wanted to create something that kids would feel that they're doing magic. So we developed this cauldron. This is a technology we developed and patented. So you just put water inside, just regular water. And then you turn on the cauldron. And you open your application. Even if you don't have a tablet, you can already play, because when you put an ingredient inside, it recognizes and it makes a steam, and it sends messages to the tablet. This is already fun even without a tablet, but when we have a tablet, it's even more fun. We have many different play modes inside the app. I'm going to show you how to make a potion. So I'm going to select the potion that I want to make. I'm going to make a dragon potion. So a dragon potion is, I'm going to build a real dragon. So I need to mix the ingredients. I already have the ingredients here prepared. And I'm going to show you how to create a dragon. So first I start with the heart. So when I put the heart, I mix the heart. Okay. Then I put a cockroach. Okay, I put my cockroach. I need to see the recipe. Let's see. So I mix the cockroach. And then now I need to put some poison into the game. So I put the poison. And now some mountain water. So it's really like you're cooking. It's the first time you actually can do magical potions. And then I'll finalize with a little bit of solar moon. Okay, I'll mix it. All right. And now I'm going to unleash my dragon. So I'll finalize with my magical wand. And, okay. I'm going to turn it to my side. And I'm going to show you what our final potion looks like. There we go. Yeah, the light is not perfect here. Let me change to this side. There we go. Like I said, this is a very early prototype. There we go. Oh, come on. This is the just the well,
You get the idea.
yeah. Come on. Well, you will see a dragon coming out of the cauldron, and then you play with this dragon. And, well, it's the demo. All right. Well, this is a little bit of our working. And this product here will be ready together with the, by the end of next year, we're launching it worldwide. You also make wizard combats where, whoever puts the strongest ingredient, the other person's face will change into a frog or things like that, and many other features that we're going to have. Unfortunately, this one, the light is not perfect and it's not seeing well this time. All right. Well, that's a little bit unfortunate, but
It's okay.
it's an early technology still.
All right. I think we're right at the end. Do we have any questions? If you have any, raise your hand, and then you can come up to the podium here. And if you'd like any further demo of the cauldron, I'm sure we'll get it working. You're welcome to come see. Yes.
I'd like to know what is the licensing model for Vuforia?
The question was about the licensing model for Vuforia. Yeah, it's a good question. We haven't announced anything on licensing for toy recognition yet, so you can look for that news in the future.